Flirties, hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Flirtations. Thank you so much for being here, for tuning in, for listening, for streaming wherever you are in the world. I really appreciate you taking the time to listen to the show. And my goodness, is there an incredible conversation coming your way today with Danny Santos, all about connection and timing and dating. I mean, we've all heard the phrases, it happens when you least expect it, right? What's meant for you won't pass you by, right? Okay, well, let's bring some context to that very classic dating advice as we also get into the invisible string theory. If you don't know what that is, you will. We're going to be talking about soulmates, twin flames, and karmic connections. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm excited. Are you excited? Of course. Don't go anywhere. Thank you again for being here. Now I politely invite you, ask, yes, that you rate, review, subscribe to the show if you haven't already. If you have, thank you. If you haven't, now's an amazing time to do so before we get into the full conversation. 5 stars. 5 stars. Thank you. Okay, now let's get into the intro. Yes, the official intro coming next. Coming up on this episode of Flirtations, we're diving into the soul level stuff, those invisible forces that draw us to each other, shape our relationships, and sometimes break us apart. And joining us is the luminous Danny Santos, a spiritual guide, psychic medium, and the intuitive heart behind Santos Crystal Visions on Instagram to have a conversation with us about soulmates, twin flames, karmic connections, and timing in dating. What does it mean when we feel an undeniable connection with someone? How do we know if it's love or a lesson? Is timing really everything? And what if, maybe the hardest question of all, what if we feel like we have already met our soulmate and it didn't work out? What if the love of my life has already come and gone? Will I find love again? Flirty, of course you will. We're hopeful romantics here on Flirtations. We'll also talk about dating karma, the invisible string theory, and why some connections feel written in the stars, even if they never find a forever. We'll untangle how to recognize when you're stuck in a cycle and how to clear your energy so you can call in the kind of love that truly aligns. This one is soulful, expansive, and a little bit witchy in the best way, y'all. So whether you're in the middle of something cosmic, letting go of something karmic, or waiting for the universe to catch up, this conversation is for you. Take a deep breath, settle in, because we're going to get very real about spiritual connection and the sometimes messy, but always magical road to love. Let's do this, Flirties, and meet Danny.
I heard you wanted to flirt. I heard you wanted to flirt. I heard you wanted to flirt. Hello, my name is Benjamin. I'm the flirt coach and a gay Libra. Everyone has an inner flirt.
Hey, Flirty.
Live, laugh, flirt.
Work the flirt.
Work the flirt. Delulu is the Solulu. Expert on the flirt.
Hey, Flirty. There's always another flirt.
Everyone has an inner flirt. Get out of your head and into the flirt.
Flirties. On this episode, we're getting into the cosmic side of connection with Danny Santos, a spiritual guide, psychic medium, and intuitive behind the account Santos Crystal Visions on Instagram. Danny is known for his soulful readings, deep wisdom, and magical insights into love, energy, and the soul level bonds that shape our lives. And today we're talking about soulmates, karmic connections, twin flames, timing, the invisible string theory, and so much more. Oh my God. Hi, Danny. Welcome to the show.
Oh my God. Hi, Ben. It's such an honor and a pleasure to be here.
Yeah. Thanks for making the time to record today, as my accent really peaked at Santos Crystal Visions. I don't know what came out of my mouth a moment ago, but
well, I'm from Michigan, so people are always like Danny Santos.
Yeah, where in Michigan? It's a beautiful state.
Metro Detroit area, like 50 minutes
sure.
north of Detroit.
Very nice. And now making home in Los Angeles.
That's right. I've been living here since 2015. I moved out here for film school at USC.
Yeah.
And, if you know the actor Darren Criss, I was his personal assistant for 2 years.
Of course I do. Glee.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah, and he played the murderer in
yes.
Damn it,
Versace.
Bad gay. Yes, Versace.
yeah.
All right, so we're learning a little bit more about you already from Michigan. Born there, now in LA, assistant to Darren Criss, but also so much more. So I want to hear a little bit more about the origin story of Santos Crystal Visions and a little bit about what you do.
Absolutely. So I'll give you the really quick elevator pitch. Mm-hmm. I've been studying astrology since I was 11 years old. Mm-hmm. So during the pandemic, things just started exploding. People wanted answers.
Yeah.
People were really hoping to find some sort of meaning in the day-to-day life, especially being trapped behind closed doors. So as that started happening, I went from working full-time for Darren to then transitioning to part-time because there just simply wasn't enough work for me to be doing his errands and running things for him and, the assistant side of things. So in order to make a good enough paycheck, a friend of mine who's a business coach said, Danny, why don't you start offering readings to people and just just do it for $50 per session?
Yeah.
And that's how my business started. That was in 2020.
Wow. Who's your business mentor?
Okay, so that was a friend of mine.
Oh, a different one.
Who offered that. But I do get business mentoring from a woman named Damona Hoffman.
Yes, as we checked in before hitting record. Yeah, Damona, a previous guest on the show, I believe episode 25, all about the dating apps.
Yes, and she's the love expert for the Drew Barrymore show.
Heck,
she's written a book, F the Fairy Tale.
Yeah.
I actually met her as her Uber driver.
That's so wild.
So I picked her up. She was on her way to her birthday party, and I was doing tarot card readings out of my Uber to anybody who was coming into the car, and I offered her one, and we exchanged info, and the rest is history.
That's amazing. That is so Los Angeles.
It was like literally shortly after I was doing this tarot thing in the car, like this show about a taxi psychic came out, and I was like, I wonder if they got that idea from me.
Probably. I'm gonna tell you what, you're not going to find that in the Ubers and the Lyfts here in North Carolina.
Yeah, a little less common.
You may get a phone charger, a bottle of water, right?
Exactly.
Great customer service, Southern hospitality, but a tarot card reading never had that.
So this is why I had to move out of Michigan, because I'm far more like spiritual LA, gay all over the place compared to the Midwest.
Shout out to Damona as well. I got a chance to meet Damona earlier this year at Sabrina Zohar shows, the Sabrina Zohar show. Yes, 2-year anniversary party hosted by, of course, Sabrina Zohar, and Damona was there.
Oh my God, she is such an angel. I have to tell you, that woman has really changed my life. And she's actually the one who, this last year for my birthday, purchased me gifted sessions to study psychic mediumship.
Wow.
So because of Damona, I am now also a psychic medium.
Yeah, shout out to Damona. So much fun, too. Great sense of humor. Like really fun to talk to, yeah.
She's a Sagittarius, so, she's got that sensibility.
Oh, my gosh. All right, Danny, let's get into a little bit more about your work for a moment, as we're going to be getting into really questions about timing. In dating today. Some of the flirties will be familiar with terms like soulmates, soul connections, perhaps karmic connections. We're going to talk about karma in dating, twin flames. What is that? How is that maybe different, similar from a soul connection? The invisible string theory, if you don't know what that is, it's coming up. And really speaking to like this this phrase we've all heard in love, dating, and relationships, right? It'll happen when you least expect it.
Yeah, exactly.
So if it's going to happen when I least expect it, why should I even try? Right?
Well, because that's a good question. And when you put it that way, you have to think there could be a certain set of lessons or things you got to pick up along the way, because I'm sure you've heard this term synchronicity.
Mm-hmm. I have.
Okay, yeah. So that's coined by Carl Jung, and the concept of synchronicity is like everything in the universe is all happening in like the same kind of rhythm. It's all under the divine timing. And as a professional astrologer, I understand that our planets are God's clock or the divine timing. So you have what's known as a transit. When a planet might be transiting a particular part of a person's birth chart, it's going to reveal the divine timing of something happening.
Okay.
So, like in my birth chart, supposedly next year, Saturn moves over my Venus. So that's when I'm supposed to like fall in love and like have like a very serious committed relationship enter my life.
Okay.
So I've been watching that one. I'm like, all right, let's see what happens.
Okay, we're gonna come back to that, and throughout the show, I've got some follow-up questions that are coming to mind, and I think I try and always put myself in the minds of the flirties as well. What are they thinking and feeling in this moment? So, putting down a few notes to come back to, but when it comes to your work, what are some of the things that you're observing and experiencing from your clients? What kind of questions are they asking you about love and dating?
Interesting. So, a big part of my work basically the premise of my organization is that it's a spiritual and faith-based organization where I combine astrology with trauma healing, with life coaching, and with healing and wellness.
Okay.
And as it pertains to love and romance, people are oftentimes asking, when am I going to find that person?
Absolutely.
What am I doing wrong? How has the universe laid my life out, in order for me to find love? Mm-hmm. And I do believe the more that we heal as individuals, the higher our vibration rises, and the more that we're able to meet that soulmate, true soulmate connection.
Okay.
So a lot of the coaching I do is helping people, whether it's like helping them. I've created my own program called 12 Steps, 12 Signs, an Astrologer's Guide to Recovery. Mm-hmm. So I teach people the 12 signs of the zodiac while also walking them through a 12-step program and showing the parallels that each step correlates to a sign. Wow. And then by walking this program, you help eliminate trauma from the body, mind, body, heart, soul, and spirit, thus making yourself more ready for romantic love to enter your life because you're deflating your character defects and your bad karma.
Okay. All right. Let's ask this question now because I know the Flirties have probably heard before, and it's come up on Flirtations that you attract what you are, right? You manifest, and beyond that, how you feel about yourself, what those internal beliefs you have about yourself are. So just classic example for the Flirties dating the men's, all men are trash. You're probably confirmation bias. That is going to be more or less what you experience, even though that's not exactly what you want in your love life, but a very simple example. So breaking down this concept that you are what you attract. What do you think about that?
I love that phrase. And in the book that I'm writing about astrology right now, I also say, like, you're not only what you attract, but you are what you need to heal. Or you attract what you need to heal. Okay. So it's not necessarily what you are, because you could be somebody who's a codependent who keeps attracting a narcissist. So it's not that you're necessarily a narcissist or that they're a codependent, although in a way, yes. But these are also opposite manifestations of the same problem. Okay. So that's what the other person needs to heal. The codependent needs to become a little bit more self-centered, and the narcissist needs to become a little bit more interdependent. Yeah. So that kind of dynamic, I wouldn't say that's necessarily a soulmate connection between those two people. It could be a soul contract. Okay. But there are instances where, I don't know if you know the story of Psyche and Eros in mythology.
I don't.
Okay, so it's basically Psyche was a mortal woman, and she was considered one of the most beautiful humans on the planet. And the gods really favored her for her beauty. So she ended up falling in love with this god Eros, but she could never see his face. So he's kind of like the avoidant, and she's like the codependent. And they would have sex in the sexual love affair, and then he would leave her, and he forbade her from ever seeing her face. So this kind of avoidant personality thing coming up. But one day, as he was sleeping, she lit a lamp, and she saw his face, and he was disgusted and so offended by this that he flew away. And basically from there, Psyche wanted to win him back over, so she had to go to his mother Aphrodite and complete these 3 impossible tasks. And in doing so, she got to be reunited with Eros. And the moral of the story as it pertains to soulmates is oftentimes we feel like, oh my God, if I can only overcome this particular struggle, these impossible tasks in love, then I'm going to get to be with the person I'm meant to be with. Yeah. So I do believe that that can be a trope that shows up in some people's lives, but otherwise it could just be like a twin flame, toxic soulmate dynamic. Yeah.
Yeah, and we're going to untangle twin flame versus soulmate versus karmic connection. Is this, what is this here to teach me? Do I need to learn something? Why are we being brought together? Is this an unhealthy, maybe attachment I have? Is this a trauma bond, right? A lot of questions just came in about how to determine the differences between all of these different things. But staying here for just a moment, I got to be honest, I have beef with that phrase, you are what you attract.
You are what you attract. I mean, tell me why.
I get it. But it's what I think ultimately plays out is you tend to attract people who might activate something unhealed within you, or you attract people who fulfill a need, may not be a healthy need, but they're giving you some type of purpose. So as an example, like for me, classic fixer, people pleaser, right? Overextender, giver. I tend to I really derive a lot of who I am and a lot of my purpose from how I serve and help others, right? It's a great trait to have. But in dating and relationships, becoming that person and attracting people who may not have my best interest in mind at heart may very well take advantage of my just giving people the benefit of the doubt, right? Seeing the best in others. And so part of what I had to do was realize I was attracting people who were more than willing to take far more than they would ever give, healing that within myself, realizing that it is not my role or job or responsibility as a partner, someone you're just getting to know and dating, to save you, to rescue you, to be your everything, right? I have to be that person for me first and foremost, and then making love, dating, and relationships more about exploring connection, compatibility, right? Do I even like how I feel around this person? Do I like the version of myself I am around this person? Are they giving back to me? So this idea, this concept of you are what you attract, there's a heck of a lot of truth to it for sure, but I hope just sharing a little bit more about myself gives the Flirties some nuances about how that plays out.
Yeah. I definitely I do live by that phrase, you are what you attract, or you attract what you need to heal. I do believe that's the greater truth is you attract what you need to heal.
Yeah.
And I like to believe before we incarnate onto earth, we meet with some kind of spirit guide, and they go over our life and all of our lessons and our karma that we have to transcend. Yeah. So it's almost like we make contracts with these people. All right, you're going to be a narcissist. Oh, that's perfect. Cause I have codependency in my karma. And we can I imagine it's almost
come on, narcissist, come on over.
It's almost I have to clear that. And you got to clear that. We're going to make a soul contract so we can clear that together. We can help each other karmically. Yeah. But for someone who's a Libra, which is your sign,
that'd be me.
Book, I'm talking about how each sign has its own spectrum.
Okay.
So Libra is the neutral vibration of balance, being able to balance yourself with other people. The lowest vibration, there's a bunch of stuff in between, but the lowest is distortion, where Libras can't really tell what's true or not true because they're being distorted by things like codependency, being gaslit, helplessness, injustice, these kinds of things.
Yeah.
Whereas the highest vibration of Libra is balance.
Yeah.
So you're going to see things like charisma, justice, interdependence, communication, charm. Libra, if you want somebody who's going to partner with you in a fair way, go for a healed Libra.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But otherwise, it can be a little messy.
Oh, definitely messy. Yeah, we get a lot of. I feel like all the signs get their own level of pushback on the internet, right, on social media. But I tell you, I feel like there's a lot of Libra hate out there. But a healed Libra, let me tell you,
there's
amazing,
nothing like it.
Decisive, all about fairness, understanding, great listeners, empathetic,
helpful.
Helpful, very.
Libras will help you with anything. And they're so beautiful and charming and stylish. That's part of the archetype.
Yeah. Ruled by Venus, right?
Absolutely. But that justice is so necessary as well.
God, and there's so much injustice, inequality, unfairness in the world. I can't stand it. I can't stand it. It hurts me. But I want to stay here for a minute and tease out a couple of ideas that came to mind. And one is for anyone listening, right, the Flirties, wherever you are tuning in, it's I don't want you to feel like if you attract the narcissist, right, you're attracting the person who's going to gaslight you. You're attracting the person who's emotionally unavailable, but somehow finds a way to manipulate your emotions and your experiences. Don't take on the full responsibility or ownership for how someone else is behaving and acting. Just because you may be working through some things doesn't mean you deserve to have someone in your life that is going to make it unnecessarily more complicated, right? Or hurt you. Yeah.
Well, I personally like to believe that if we're attracting something like that, there's something within ourselves, again, that hasn't been fully healed. But to break that down a little bit more, what specifically about me is allowing the window of opportunity for a dysfunctional or addicted or traumatized person to come in?
Yeah.
Where did I drop the ball? And it's like, as I go through my 12 steps with my clients, I teach them tools. It's like, well, was I being codependent? Did I not exercise my discernment? Is there something that I'm in denial about? Like, there's all of these things that you have to go through in order to fully understand why are you continuing to attract the same kind of karmic cycle to yourself.
Oof. Yeah. Yeah. And I want to get your thoughts for a moment on energy, vibrations, frequency, because I think this is part of it as well, where if you're vibrating in some of those lower energies, lower frequencies of guilt, shame, anger, sadness, hopelessness, guilt, right? Versus some of those higher vibrating states of gratitude, appreciation, love, contentment, fulfillment, happiness. Like, you can be like, so it's, you are what you attract. Like, if you're kind of the Eeyore of the world, which I have been for the longest time, right? Like, you might attract not the exact same Eeyore, but similar people in a similar energetic frequency. Yeah. What do you think?
Well, first of all, knowing that you have a Scorpio moon, that's where that Eeyore energy is going to come in.
Oh, great. Finally, an explanation.
Because and that rules your seventh house, Scorpio. So we're seeing chaos being like a dark thing that's the master teacher of Scorpio, whereas the master lesson is rebirth. But the idea that if we continually attract the same kind of energy to ourselves, it's because we were imprinted with something in our childhood that's going to create this window of opportunity to represent itself throughout the rest of our lives until we heal it. And what I mean by that is trauma is something that can be sensed energetically, to get back to your question on energetics. So think about animals like horses. They are prey animals. They are incredibly sensitive to their environment, so they can sense and feel it in the auric field around them. So with maybe the Eeyores or the empaths or the more emotionally sensitive, the prey personality, the narcissist, the bigot, the OCD, the controlling, whatever it might be, that person can energetically sense the person who has the weakness that matches theirs. And they will prey on it, and that can be vampiric as a way of trying to sustain energy, because that's either something that existed in that person's energetic bloodline, their ancestors, or simply the way that they were raised.
Not Dracula, Danny. I didn't know. Oh, my God.
Period. You know who's gay.
Oh, come on. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, basically me. Doesn't want to go outside.
Well, you do have a Scorpio moon. So.
Sometimes I do think about just closing myself off from the whole world, shuttering the curtains, and just getting a stack of movies, some ice cream. Yes. But then again, I loved garlic too much. So that's.
Ooh, I love garlic too.
Yeah.
But what I teach my clients is our demons are our greatest teachers. So if you keep attracting that narcissist to yourself, there's a lesson there. And that's it's like playing a video game, but you're playing on the difficulty of demon mode.
All right, very interesting. We're going to transition here because I love that we opened talking about timing a little bit, this concept of you are what you attract, because I'm sure the Flirties have heard, or at least familiar with, that relationships are where you go to heal. Yes, they can be triggering. Yes, they can keep you in these low vibrational frequencies. They can keep you stuck, but they can also be beautiful places where you can go to heal, to evolve, and transform. And so now we're going to transition into that part of dating, with the segue being the invisible string theory. So are you familiar with this?
Oh, absolutely.
What is it, Danny?
So the invisible string theory is from Eastern Asian culture, and it is the idea that the moon goddess of Yu Lao would tie a red string. It's also known as like the red string theory or the red thread theory. that this moon goddess Yu Lao would tie this red string. Some people believe it was on the ankles. Some people believe it was on the pinky finger. But from one soul to another, and that these two souls, kind of like the story of Psyche and Eros, with these impossible tasks that need to be overcome, that no matter what, these two souls will reunite to one another. But it is kind of like on this journey of having to clear your karma, having to move past your own dysfunction, your own addictions. But it's the idea that everybody has one, and that's your soulmate, and you're going to find each other.
Yeah. Speaking to this element of timing. Right? Which I think is just the real intangible out there in dating that doesn't really have, like, sometimes it's hard to put words to the experience of it. Just like, do you think it just happens when someone is ready?
Well, there's one thing where you can think about like the astrological clock, God's divine timing. But just because like I said earlier, Saturn's going over my Venus.
Yeah.
That could be one window of time.
Okay.
That doesn't mean it's the time.
Okay.
It means if I am ready, it's really going to depend on how ready one makes themselves. The more you heal, the more you're able to get rid of your own dysfunction, your own addiction, your own trauma.
Yeah.
The more you clear that stuff, then the universe is just going to send you up and say like, all right, miracle time is happening. Okay. You're going to find love because vibrationally you become a match for it.
All right. That I get. And yeah, because a lot of episodes have, of course, talked about attachment styles, attachment theory, trauma, right? Self-sabotage, the inner critic, all of these things that have been, yes, about dating and relationships and flirting, but also about that connection, the relationship you have with yourself, because so much of the work will be internal as well.
Yeah. Well, if you don't look at what's going on inside, it's just a mirror for what's as above, so below, the Hermetic law states.
Yeah. I'm curious, do you see in your clients, like the people you work with, when they start to make this shift in their own energy, their own vibration, does their self-talk change? Do you feel like their energy changes? Do they start looking different, moving different, sounding different? Yeah. What do you see?
Absolutely. So people's demeanors change, their health changes, their mood changes. I have one client who just got like a promotion. He's no longer working a job where he's traveling all the time, but now he has a remote position. Like he's in the process of finally getting his divorce. He's one of my star clients, and he went from being incredibly traumatized, not being able to talk about his emotions and feelings at all, and not even aware of the fact that he had super complex trauma, to now being like smiling all the time, in a great mood. His whole life just transformed. He's in a relationship now. He's the perfect example of someone in my program who, if you do the work, the universe will miraculously send you up. It's inevitable.
So for the flirties listening that feel like they're stuck, or maybe they're on the impetus of change, they can sense it a little bit, but they feel like they're just repeating old patterns, learning the same lessons over and over again. Yeah. What do you have? What do you have for them, just to give them a little bit of hope?
Sure. Well, what my mom used to tell me as a kid, I was a kid who needed extra reading lessons and extra like math lessons. And I just wasn't up to speed with all the other kids for a little time there around like 5th grade. And she used to tell me everybody's like tomatoes. They all ripen at different times. So just because your time hasn't come yet doesn't mean it's never going to come. In fact, the people who have to wait longer often have a greater reward on the other side of it.
Yeah, I've heard that. The greater resistance, the greater the breakthrough.
Yes. That's very well said. I like that.
Yeah, I'm still waiting too. Like, where is he already? I'm kind of tired of being single, to be honest, Danny. Let's get into, thank you for that. I love the tomato analogy.
Well, and I just have to tell you, with your moon in Scorpio in the 7th house, romantic love and a sexual, deep, intimate connection with somebody is what's going to fulfill you the most in this lifetime.
You're telling me, yeah.
So, I mean, I'd love to even just like look at your birth chart off air with you and chat with you about it. We can kind of dive into your own stuff and like what you're looking to do.
Good luck.
I got you, baby. Scorpio's my career sign. So
okay.
I can work with that energy. It's very easy for me.
All right. Yeah, I appreciate that. Let us do, okay, we got to get into, goodness, soulmates, twin flames, karmic connections. Somehow we have a lot left to get to. And some of the questions that came through that we'll touch on is really two. That stood out, that came through a few times. One being, how do I move on from someone I thought was the one? And what if, like, I feel like I've already met my soulmate and it didn't work out, right? Sort of two questions cut from the same cloth. But up first, let's put some words to a soulmate. Yeah. What is that?
Sure. Well, we've got soulmates and then we've got twin flames. I mean, these are a little bit of different things. I do believe everybody has a true soulmate.
Okay.
And this is going to be somebody that, like, I don't know if you follow, oh my gosh, what is her name? It's Lorna Byrne. Have you ever heard of this woman?
Gosh, I feel like that the name sounds very familiar. I mean, let me tell you, I'm very liberal with my follow button, just as I am my block button. So I follow thousands of people. I'm not one of those, side note, I'm not one of those creators that is like, oh, I'm going to be stingy with my follows, right? I'm going to be stingy with my likes. Like, come on, no.
Live your best life. Follow who you want to follow.
I want people to follow and like my stuff. I got to do the same, right?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, Lorna Byrne, she's this woman who I'm a huge fan of. She wrote this book called Angels in My Hair. And, you know, she's this woman, I believe she lives in Ireland or Scotland. She's got this really beautiful accent.
Yeah.
And from a young age, she would see angels and like literally see them, converse with them, get information about her life or other people's lives based on this. So, just my whole life, I've studied a lot of spirituality. She's somebody I've been a fan of for like over 10 years. And in one of her books, she talks about soulmates.
Okay.
And she said that the angels told her that each person has a one true soulmate that transcends time, space, energy, and that person can be from one lifetime. It could be like your mom and you're the daughter.
Yeah.
It can be your romantic partner.
Okay.
It can be a whole number of different forms of relationships. But in the different lives that we live,
yes,
that soulmate is like the one who's like the true match to your soul. And you can play different roles with that soul. Like if you want to be their parent in one lifetime and you want to show them what it feels like to have a good father, or if you want to have children with them and be in that deep relationship. So I do think we all, I like that explanation. I think we here on Earth play different roles in different lifetimes for different experiences to learn things. But I do believe that we can have romantic sexual union and compatibility with a wide number of souls.
Okay.
And people that we can learn to get on that kind of energetic groove with, and that love and that romance, that's a soulmate.
Okay.
You know?
All right.
Whereas the twin flame is going to activate all of your trauma, put it right in your face. That's like a whole other thing.
We're going to get to that and helping the Flirties untangle the differences, but focusing here on soulmates for a minute more. I'd love for you if you could share. You've mentioned the word mirror a few times.
Yeah.
So how the soulmate is. Because what I gather from what a soulmate connection is, it tends to be, not that it's going to last forever. It doesn't have to be only in your romantic relationships. It could be elsewhere in your life, a friend, a family member, but someone that's going to be in your life for a long period of time, if not forever. Doesn't mean you're in constant connection and communication, but a consistent force and energy in your life that really is that mirror, right? Where you feel safe, seen, supported, nurtured, cared for. The soulmate relationship connection isn't supposed to be inherently intense, triggering, right?
No, it's
Full of
comfortable.
chaos. It's comfortable.
It's somebody, it's like, if I ask you, like, who's your best friend? You're going to tell me about your best friend. And maybe you and your best friend have had like a couple arguments or maybe some
Sure, it's not going to be perfect, right? There's going to be disagreements. Yeah.
You're going to come back together. You love each other. Like, It's just that person that you can sit with and talk with for hours, or rock climb with, or go to the park, or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just, it feels easy.
Yeah.
our soulmates are the people that we just have a naturally flowing relationship to, where there's not this massive amount of resistance.
Okay. And so with that, I feel like I'm going to maybe push back for just a moment where I feel like we can have multiple soul connections in our lives. I feel like that we're only allowed to have one, I feel is very limiting, and it creates like what I feel like I observe and hear from the Flirties. It almost creates this pressure, right, to get it right, because I've only got one chance. I've got one soulmate in my whole life. And if I missed out or I messed it up, right, that it's over. I'm never going to have that again. So this idea, so much pressure, this idea that there's only one, I don't think so.
Well, I like to think that, we talked about like before you incarnate here on Earth, you plan your life and all this stuff.
Yeah.
I like to think that it's very polyamorous up there.
Okay.
That it's like, okay, so we're, so let's say hypothetically, me and this person we're madly in love, and that's my soulmate. But that person loves me so much that they're going to let me explore different things, have different experiences. Maybe they're going to hang back and be my spirit guide as I fulfill my lessons in this lifetime. Or maybe they're going to incarnate as my sibling. So we're still going to be right next to each other, but I'm going to meet all of these other people, Yeah. Spirit, it's just like wearing a sleeve or something when we incarnate here. We're just learning lessons. Yeah. Because if you knew that you were going back to ultimate happiness and Shangri-La beyond this lifetime, that might get boring. Maybe sometimes we incarnate because we want a little bit of the drama.
I think a lot of people would like some drama.
Yeah, but also that
gossip,
drama.
some tea. Yeah, what's going on in the group chat? What are we talking about at brunch?
Period, okay? Yeah. But furthermore, we come here because we want to have the variety of experiences that are available to us in the realm of duality.
Okay.
That's what Earth is. So the idea of soulmates, I do believe we have a one true soulmate, but that doesn't mean that's the only person you're going to have sex with, be in love with. Eternity is forever. And I really believe our souls just keep going on.
Yeah. I do as well. I definitely believe in reincarnation. I do believe in these soul contracts, right? That there is this, unbeknownst to us, our life path is more or less laid out for us, but are we going to follow that path?
Are you going to rise to the occasion?
Maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe not. So if you feel like you've got that stirring in your soul, right? Like you're not in alignment, that word gets thrown about a lot. You feel like something's off. You're feeling stuck. Like all of a sudden, maybe you're having all of these health problems or challenges that just are coming out of nowhere without any obvious solutions or causes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well,
might be off your path. Just something to notice.
Absolutely. And you have to think, if they say after you die, you do a life review. And you have to watch your whole life. I don't want my life review to be me watching myself and being pitying myself, being like, Danny, why couldn't you just figure it out, boy? Life is meant to be lived and championed, and we're here to learn and grow past our own limitations and dysfunction.
And our own ego.
Absolutely.
Oh, God, yeah.
So if we're attracting the narcissist or the crazy or whatever, that's something that we got to heal, Yeah. And sometimes healing that doesn't mean cutting that person off forever. Sometimes it's like, all right, I guess I'm going to be a little more lenient and flexible with this person and stop trying to control them or stop demanding them to be a certain way. Because our dysfunction can oftentimes come down to our own sense of control.
Absolutely.
That's what it's been for me, at least.
Yeah, even I would say just about attachment theory and attachment styles. A lot of that is born out of the ego's need to control, right? Not necessarily coming from this bad place. It might just be wanting to have some predictability, right? To have some sense of normalcy for your nervous system, or to kind of, create, have this control over your lived experiences, where for the anxious, right, if you can chase, right? If you can always be there, if you can just sort of always, text and do the thing, right? You can sort of control whether or not someone leaves or not.
Absolutely.
And for the avoidant, right, really born out of these fears of abandonment, rejection, not feeling good enough, all of that, right? The avoidant, it more or less tries to assert control by pulling away
Yeah. And
to make themselves feel safe. Yeah.
the more that we feed into our own dysfunction, the more dysfunctional we're going to be.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like we have to stop. We have to catch ourselves at some point. And like, what if instead of having control, the most powerful thing we could do is choose to love someone unconditionally, you know, even in the face of that dysfunction, even in the face of that challenge, but not put ourselves in the line of fire.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
it's learning to love unconditionally.
And that's an interesting conversation I see play out is loving unconditionally. And some will say that unconditional love is only present between parents and their children, right? That adult love and relationships is very conditional, right? You don't get to have my love just because I like you or you're hot or the sex is good or something like that, right? You gotta,
you have to earn it.
You gotta earn it a little bit. All right, we got to get into, I feel like we have a lot more to get to.
Yeah.
Danny, what about twin flames? We've been talking about it. And so what is a twin flame connection and how might that be different from a soulmate?
Well, the soulmate, we're talking about more easy relationship. You can get along, like it just kind of flows naturally. Maybe you've got some highs and lows, but it's nowhere in comparison to the twin flame.
Okay.
Because the twin flame is a very special contact. The twin flame is someone that you've made a karmic soul contract with. And when I say contract, that doesn't necessarily mean y'all got up there in heaven and you're like, I agree to this and I agree to this.
Yeah.
Instead, it could be that there's enough karma banked on the individuals that when these two enter each other's field, it's such a intense magnetic bond that they can't get away from each other. The dysfunction, it's going to feel like heaven on earth for the first maybe 3 months or however long, and then it explodes.
Yeah.
And what happens is this person is karmically sent to reveal the smorgasbord of all of the trauma and the healing that is yet to be done between the two individuals.
Okay. Yes, very interesting, where I feel like twin flames also often get mistaken for soulmates because it feels like the phrase that's coming to mind is meant to be, right?
Yeah.
It felt so right, Danny. That was my twin flame. Yeah. How could that not be the one for me?
Well, I think of Lucille Ball and Ricky. Was it Ricky Ricardo? Was that his name?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
My fellow Cuban. So they were madly in love with each other.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about like insane, stupid how in love they were with each other. And yet she chose not to be with him at the end of the day because he could not keep it in his pants.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, like that was what did them in ultimately.
Yeah.
So it becomes the question of, did he need to learn to become a little bit more respectful and have stronger boundaries? Or did she need to learn to become a little bit more lenient and open-minded? Who knows? I mean, I believe these two are soulmates and twin flames.
Yeah.
I think it is possible, like the true soulmate who's also the twin flame.
Yeah.
You know, and that's where we go back to Psyche and Eros, going over these impossible tasks.
Okay.
These things that you have to overcome in your soul's development in order to get true love. And my sister Monica always talks about how life is like a game of soulmates. And you're not going to meet that person or get to be with that person until you've cleared all of your own karma. And like the whole point of life is finding your soulmate, which I don't know if I 100% agree with, but it's an interesting take.
It's an interesting take, yeah. So one thing I feel like I'm hearing from twin flames is there's where the soulmates have this mirror into ease, comfort. Not that it's all going to be without conflict and disagreement, of course, but there is a level of just like, right, I can exhale. Whereas the twin flame, I feel like that mirror is more into opposites. So the phrase, right, opposites attract. That, not that you might not have a lot of compatibility and things in common, but there is bound to be more polar opposite, more opposites in that twin flame connection.
Yeah, yeah. And I'll share a little bit about my own twin flame story, just as a case study. So this person who I felt like was the love of my life, you know, he was married to a woman. And I'm Mr. like follow the rules, goody two shoes, do everything right, don't go behind anybody's back, you know? And here's this man who's gay, who's in love, or who's married to a woman, but they don't have sex and they don't have a relationship.
Yeah.
So
Lavender marriage, yeah. That's what it sounds like, yeah.
Yes. So what I did was I broke up with this man 33 times in the course of 4 years.
Okay.
So my strategy is to make cuts. What he did was always accept me back, trying to like build the bridge and bring the connection. At the beginning of the relationship, he introduced me to his mom. He was introducing me to tons of his family members. He was trying to bring me in.
Okay.
So we were coming from the opposite side of the street.
Yes.
So in this kind of twin flame dynamic, if I had learned to just build the bridge and he had learned to make a cut, we'd probably be together.
Wow.
But that person and I mean, that was like 8 years ago. I was 24 years old when I met him.
Yeah.
That person really triggered a lot of my own trauma and dysfunction. And I got to tell you, I'm way more lenient and less controlling and OCD. I'm a better person because I had that twin flame relationship.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But you learned, right, the karmic lessons you needed to learn. Otherwise, you might still be in that pattern today.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's possible.
You know? But I have to tell you, I'm far more open-minded.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not here to cut people as soon as they do the littlest thing wrong or as soon as I'm not in control.
Which is so important and so big in dating. That is one of the absolute biggest obstacles I see in dating is this like people saying, oh, I'm healed or I'm healing, but really they're just cutting people off left and right.
Yes. And like, if you really want a relationship, it's not that you're finding the right person. It's that you're finding the rightness within yourself to actually build the bridge to the other person.
There's the soundbite. Yes, Danny. Yes. That's what this is. All right. We got a couple more things to get to as we round out this conversation. And we've been talking about it all episode, but karma and karmic connections. So soulmates, twin flames, talk to us a little bit about the karma aspect of things.
Yeah, well, in astrology, the planet of karma is Saturn. So if you want to understand someone's karma or what it looks like or how it's coming through, you always check their Saturn placement in their birth chart.
Okay.
And how that Saturn is aspected in the birth chart is going to reveal what that karma is doing. So you have to think the planet Saturn is exalted in the sign of Libra. This is its favorite place to be because karma loves love. The most loving thing we can do with our karma or the best thing we can do with our karma is be loving.
Yeah.
You know, find loving resolutions, win-win situations, like, you know, or the justice system, very Libra, can bring karma back into balance.
Yeah.
Because karma and balance, to balance your karma is literally a very famous phrase that we all know, balancing my karma. So the idea of karma as it pertains to romantic love and relationships is that the universe is going to throw you the perfect person that's going to dysfunctionally fuck your shit up. Excuse me, but
yes,
they're really going to mess you up.
Yeah,
with your dysfunction because karmically that person and you have trauma or things that match.
Okay,
and you put them together, and like I was talking about, I have a tendency to cut. This guy had a tendency to cross lines.
Yeah,
karmically, it was a match. It was the exact antithesis of everything that I was and everything that he was. So that's how karma is going to work, is in order to balance you out, you're going to be thrown the thing where you're going to say anything but that. I don't want that.
Right.
And that's what's going to balance you, is actually having to do the thing you were resisting the most or face the thing that you're the least likely to do.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Kind of. So what I feel like I'm hearing is karma is a way the universe is basically going to serve you a lesson, some healing, something to be addressed within you, right? So you can build that bridge to perhaps healthier connections. It doesn't mean karma is going to bring the quote unquote right person, right? Your soulmate into your life if you don't work through and heal your own karma. But one of the ways we're going to do this is through dating and through relationships.
Absolutely.
And making connections and flirting. This is how you work through and heal your own karma. Like, it's almost like you don't know what you don't know. So how are you going to show up? What's going to come up for you? I hope this conversation has been helpful in how to just move through your own healing and karma as well, because that's going to be a big part of it.
Yeah. And I'm thinking of like a case study in my head of, let's say there's a woman who experiences sexual abuse, physical abuse, trauma, all sorts of things in her childhood. And then there's like addiction that runs deep in her family bloodline. Yeah. You know, this person will be predisposed to attracting the narcissist who's going to vampirically try to suck their energy.
Yeah.
So this person's karma, even if they have not brought it onto themselves, is that they need to learn to become stronger than the negative influences around them. So it's that darkness has teachings.
Yeah.
And that teaching is to make that soul better. So if there's a lesson that's being repeated or a darkness that's overtaking someone, that's karmic. It's karma is just another way of saying lesson.
Okay.
It's something that you have to learn from and clear. You have to pass the test. Your karma is a test.
Yeah, and even accept, right? Accept your karma as well, that you can't go in and change the past. I feel like working through self-compassion and patience is really important here too. If that's an assault, a trauma, something like that has happened to you in your past that you didn't deserve that, right? It wasn't your fault.
Yeah.
And so how can we clear your own karma, some of those thoughts and feelings you're having, maybe cycles you may fall into of self-sabotage, right? How can you clear some of that so that you can attract more of that healthy, secure partner we're looking for, who's going to be more of a soulmate versus a twin flame, right? Because we don't need to keep learning, the same lessons over and over and over again.
Right. Well, and I just want to be clear. The idea that somebody would choose horrible circumstances with like sexual assault or those kinds of things, it's quite a radical belief. There's something quite polarizing about that. And I've heard people have big pushback on that. But if you zoom the lens out and think of it from the span of multiple lifetimes, like if somebody's lacking self-love and self-esteem, how do you teach that to someone other than putting them in circumstances where they're going to be challenged, and they have the opportunity to transcend it themselves? Because even if somebody does not choose to be born into dysfunction, we do have the ability to try to find the solutions, to seek out help or mentors or, create circumstances. It's getting out of the state of mind of being a victim and choosing to find freedom, regardless of what the challenges are. Yeah. And if someone's hearing this and they're getting angry or offended, or there's a polarizing reaction, that's also going to be a marker of where their own individual trauma or negative banked up karma might be revealing itself.
Yeah. I mean, the Libra in me feels like saying life ain't fair.
And it's not true. It's not.
It's just not.
It's not. But an ascended spirit will find a way.
Yeah.
Or anybody can do it. You don't have to be ascended. Right. I guess that's the path to liberation and freedom is,
Yeah. All right. Danny, somehow we have to conclude this conversation as I feel like I could talk to you. I find these concepts really interesting and just, I think the Flirties will as well, as I get questions, about twin flames and soulmates and karma, of course. I mean, do you believe in dating karma? Like if you ghost someone that you're going to get ghosted yourself, right? I feel like sometimes we try and take the reins and exact karma.
I do kind of believe in that a little bit, if you do it to somebody else, at some point you're going to have to experience it too.
Probably.
And that's like one of the beauties of walking people through a 12-step program is you have to make an inventory of your whole life and every person you've ever harmed and anyone who's ever harmed you. And then there's a step where you have to let go of all your resentments. Yeah. And then you have to go and make amends.
Absolutely.
So energetically, this program is literally designed to clear people of their karma.
Yeah, and I feel like that's what karma more and more is to me. Like, my karma is not about getting revenge. My karma is not about even necessarily getting closure or proving a point. My karma is not trying to make someone feel a certain way if they made me feel a certain way. My karma is being the absolute best, most aligned, ascended, healed version of myself. And that's the karma, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And like, you can tell how far someone is on their growth journey as it pertains to love and dating by how happy they are in the relationship and how transparent and comfortable they're feeling in it.
Yeah.
You know, because you can have two people that have been happy for a long time.
Yeah.
But one of them's feeling like maybe I want to explore, or maybe I'm a little bit more poly or something. Like, I think it's important for people to have open and honest communication.
Yes.
And if you truly love someone unconditionally, maybe you'd want that person to have the experiences that are going to make them happy. Maybe you two can find ways to explore that together. Or maybe you just aren't with the right person.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, that's possible. Before we conclude and I send all the Flirties your way to the program, to your coaching, just going to ask one more question here, bringing it full circle as I want to come back to timing. Right. I think that's been one of the biggest themes in the conversation today. This idea that it happens when you least expect it, just echoing a few of the questions about what if I feel I've already met my soulmate, right? What if I feel like I've already been with the one, so to speak, and it didn't work out? So just ending on timing and is what is meant to be, like, if it's meant to be, it will be, right?
Yeah. I personally believe when the universe says that you're ready, it's when you are energetically ready that love enters your life. So I think we can have a little bit more responsibility over finding love in a sense.
Yeah.
Because rather than like, you can say like, if I just said that to a friend of mine, she'd be like, well, I'm ready, you know, and she'd be really frustrated about that. And I'd be like, well, clearly you're not, you know, because the readiness is to have the open-heartedness and the vulnerability to receive love without knowing when it's going to happen. It's walking blindly with a loving and open heart.
Yeah.
If you can do that and you're also healed or in a healed enough place to attract the right person, that's when it happens.
Yeah, because I hear that sometimes from the Flirties. It's like, well, I feel like I am healing. I do love myself, right? I'm working so hard. Like, where's the person, right? Where's the love? And so I think there is this element of divine timing. I do believe in the invisible string theory. I think that is absolutely at play, focusing on, yes, that connection you have with yourself, but also not throwing your hands up and just like giving everything to the universe, right? We can take some ownership over our experiences as well. I feel like the phrase, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready, right? So just of be in this level of readiness. And that is the biggest thing. Is some people, or a lot of daters think they're ready. They may be ready to give love, but are they ready to receive it? It goes both ways, and you have to be more or less in a state of readiness in both. That's the duality of it, right?
Yeah. Well, and a nice thought to maybe leave people with is it's going to happen whether you're ready or not.
Yes.
Because it's gonna happen, you know? Like, we just gotta get out of our own way.
Yeah.
The universe has so much in store for you. And if you just allow yourself to be open to it, it will reveal itself to you.
I think so too. And I do think there is truth to this. Like, you can't mess up what is for you, right?
What is for you will not pass you. Like, it's impossible.
Yeah.
The invisible string. Like, you will always be pulled back to the right person.
What is meant to be will be. I feel like that's why we're here today.
Period.
That's why we have Damona Hoffman in comment.
Yes. But also the fact that you have that Scorpio moon and that like intensity. I feel like there's something for us to unpack there a little bit deeper. You know,
the Flirties have no idea. I feel like they think they know me, and they do. They know a lot about me, but that Scorpio moon, it'll get you.
Well,
it'll get you. There's a lot of intensity there.
We're gonna do a session, Ben. We're gonna.
I'm not ready. I'm scared.
Well, it's the divine timing of the universe. It's happening.
All right. I guess I should take my own advice, huh?
Absolutely. Open mind.
Well, until then, where can the Flirties find you, follow you, work with you, enroll in the 12-step program, coaching program you offer? Yeah, where can they...
All right. So you can follow me at Santos Crystal Visions on Instagram and TikTok. My business is called Santos and the Crystal Visions, and my website is www.santoscrystalvisions.com. You can find a link to book your astrology reading. If you want to work with me in any capacity, you have to have your astrological birth chart done first.
Okay.
Since I'm an astrologer first and foremost.
Makes sense.
But if you want to learn things about spiritual life coaching, ayahuasca shamanism, dating and relationships with astrology, breath work, Reiki, I do all sorts of different things.
Yes.
And it's all used in my program to help people self-actualize. So reach out to me, and I'd love to work with anybody who comes my way.
All the somatic tools, some plant medicine, it sounds like. You got lots of skills at your disposal to help your clients. Yes.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. Danny Santos, thank you so much for being on Flirtations today. I will have those links in the show notes below for this episode and send the Flirties your way. Until we meet again, thank you for being on the show.
It's an honor. Thank you again.
All right, Flirties, that's a wrap on this episode of Flirtations, the timing and dating episode of the program, all about soulmates, twin flames, karmic connections, the invisible string theory, and this intangible element, variable of timing. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this conversation as much as I enjoyed recording it for you with Danny Santos. So many links available for you in the show notes below for this episode to learn more about Danny. Follow him, work with him. I think some of y'all just might be curious to do so. He's really incredible. Thank you so much, Danny, for coming on the show today. It was wonderful to record with you and meet you. Yes, for this episode. Okay, Flirties. Now to you, thank you once again for tuning in, for listening, for streaming, wherever you are in the world. Truly, truly, thank you so much. Please share this episode or another favorite episode of Flirtations with someone you want to share some BFE, big flirt energy with, that might need a little dating advice, a little encouragement, a little support. Yes, some flirty energy, right? Which we could all really use more of, I think. Okay, signing off officially here at Flirt Headquarters. My name is Benjamin. I'm the Flirt Coach and Gay Libra Flirty. Happy flirting.